We're getting to that point already where, talking about, the your party or whatever it's gonna be called. Um, "Oh, how dare you cover this party? Unless you cover it really positively, then that's when you're allowed to cover it. But, oh, if you have criticisms or you're reporting anything bad about it, oh, how dare you talk about it?" Honestly, that is generally most of the criticism I'm seeing coming to this, and it's like, it is the silly season. There is very little political news at the moment. Like it or not, this is news, and I am always on my channel covered what's been going on in smaller parties. I've always been interested in that. Um, I like the procedural nuts and bolts, shall we say, that go on in parties. I find it very, very fascinating. But now you've got a very funny situation happening. There's lots of people now trying to start these your parties before the official party has even begun. And I can tell you, one that I know for a fact, is run by, shall we say, the true communist son of Rotherham. Um, yeah, that's not openly tanky, is it? And by the way, I keep on saying this. There are a lot of tankies who are flooding, and we're gonna get on into this in a moment as well. There are a lot of tankies who are flooding to join this. They also seem to be the ones who are trying to organize the actual party first, so that when the actual official party comes, they are then the ones in control. And I guarantee you, you are gonna get a situation, if not multiple situations, where you've got two your parties in one area, and they are going to fight for who gets the official recognition. And then if one doesn't get it over the other, there's going to be some very sour grapes, big egos, and infighting that goes on. It's inevitable, absolutely inevitable when this happens. But for those who don't want to think that the tankies are on their way, or that a lot of these people who have very suspicious favorability of Russia for some ungodly known reason. Um, by the way, best way to suss these people out: ask them for what their take on Ukraine is, because it will pretty much be along the lines of Ukraine should just surrender to that nice Mr. Putin. Trust me, that's how you'll find them out pretty quickly. So let's go on into this, because this is, yeah, I think we could be entering soon some very this is the, this isn't the Judean People's Front, this is the People's Front of Judea situation very, very quickly. So, as always, please remember to click on the like, share, and subscribe button down below. Of course, there's links to my Patreon page, the Buy Me Coffee link, the YouTube thank you button, the YouTube membership, all that good stuff down below. Click the like, click the share button, all that good stuff. And on with this. So, this is Peak Sniff from the East Anglia Bylines writing about this as well. Clearly, someone who else must be worried about Jeremy Corbyn's new party. um, so, he begins, in theatre or even a novel, the raisonnier is the character whose role is to explain the plot and the theme behind it. Pity, of course, the poor raisonnier then, when whose responsibility it would be to try and explain the purpose and goal of what one supposes we must now call Jeremy Corbyn's new political party. But we can't even be sure it is his party, but we can't call it by any other name because it seems to not have one yet. The chaos alone has had all the maladroit hallmarks of the Jeremy Corbyn initiative. To borrow a phrase, he is so wet you could shoot snipe off him. Zarah Sultana, the MP, first told the media about the new party, implying that Corbyn would, of course, be its leader. If so, it would seem very peculiar then he wasn't actually there for the launch. But the reason turned out to be actually he was unaware it was going ahead. And we talked about this at the time as well. Really bizarre that you are launching this party where he is meant to be the leader. Again, according to Zarah at that time, he was going to be the leader. unaware the launch was even happening. So then, of course, after a delay of a day or two, he then announced he probably would be involved, though not as its leader. It's the type of typical kind of half-ass project preferred, of course, by the left, though that we would have a party which, of course, is yet to be launched without a name. Its main purpose currently seems to be put to getting up the nostrils of Keir Starmer. There may be, of course, many voters for whom that would alone just appeal and stir them to join. But an up your Starmer party undeniably does hold certain attractions when the Tories used to declare that politicians needed bottom. They had, of course, in mind something quite different. At the moment, this new behemoth on the political scene seems to be what's known as your party. But only on the understanding that it won't be its proper moniker. And meanwhile, it just continues to be known as your party. Perhaps you should, I don't know, get a name first, or maybe of sorted that first out. But, you know, just an idea. It does go to show you how rushed in reality this has been. I think that is all part of this, how rushed it has been. Meanwhile, of course, many of Starmer's Nostralites are, of course, quite keen to join, whatever its name. Next, of course, will come the arguments over what it actually stands for. Small beer to the hardened left-wing activists who who can even now schism on whether to actually put the milk in first, and don't let's even get started on whether there should actually be rich tea or custard creams. Again, very true. When it comes to this conference, this is why I want to go to this conference. I just want to sit there and just watch the chaos unfold. Oh boy, that will be fascinating to watch. Absolutely fascinating to watch. So far, all of its members will at least include disgruntled present Labour members looking to, of course, jump ship, former acolytes of Jeremy Corbyn, who have never, of course, quite forgiven Labour for its treachery, Trotskyites, as usual, looking now to leech onto any political body and try and bleed it dry, the wide-eyed Greens, and no doubt a few reformers who stumble in by accident looking for the gents. Again, wide-eyed Greens. Looking at a lot of these your party pages, you've also seen a lot of people warning about, oh, what do we do about all these wide-eyed Greens? Which leads me to believe there are a lot of people who, again, were told by many people, go join the Green Party. They are now joining your party. And now this has got a lot of people very unnerved. Very unnerved. Which is, again, I think a signal there will be some infighting. And when it kicks off, oh boy, and it will all be over policy, direction of the party, what it intends to put forward. That is when things are going to get quite interesting. But for those of us with a Labour bent will, of course, inevitably begin boasting about having, of course, a new socialist alternative. Those who have never even considered themselves socialist will, of course, recoil in horror. The Trots, of course, won't care as long as they can get Starmer, and of course, there is a decent police pylon in it. It will, of course, never fly. It has, if it is ever to work, it will have to come out again and again as something completely else. Preferably next time after somebody has come up with a name. But this is where, of course, it gets even more interesting because, of course, as I said earlier, Galloway is on his way. Galloway is on his way, guys. He's coming to join you. Like I say, the tankies, they're there. And if you're not too careful soon, there'll be too many of them. You won't have anywhere to park because they've already parked their tanks all over the bodies. Anyway, the above entry was, of course, written on Wednesday afternoon. However, on Wednesday evening, there then came now the death knell. The news that, of course, George Galloway is looking to bulge his way in. The political bureau of the Workers' Party GB tonight instructed our General Secretary to register the party's intent in either affiliating to or negotiating an electoral agreement with the new party being established by Jeremy Corbyn and Zarah Sultana. They're on the way. And once someone like Galloway and his lot get their claws in, oh boy, are you going to have a hard time getting rid of them. You're going to have an incredibly hard time getting rid of them. Nameless and, of course, unloved, this very poor excuse for a political idea has now already fallen prey to every shyster and deluded dialogue that has now sunk without a trace. One of the most, and then this is kind of interesting, what the whole Brexit question is, because this is something that has come up quite a bit as well. And I think this is something that could cause a bit of consternation in the party. Do they or do they not support Brexit? Because if you followed some of the stuff going on in that sphere since 2019, a lot of them blamed Brexit. A lot of them blamed Remainers for not supporting Mr. Corbyn. Kind of weird. That on many levels. But there you go. Any excuse to get out of trying to say that they lost. But there you go. So one of the most pressing issues on which the doomed new party would, of course, have to make a stand, of course, is Europe. There are now rumours that it may be, of course, unashamedly pro-EU. The problem with that idea, of course, is that Jeremy Corbyn has always been fervently anti, as well as many of the headbangers, the stake oil salesmen now climbing on board. So, if it takes the lead from JC, what would that actually mean for then the four parties? The Labour, Tories, Reform, all now, the party now with a no name, now crowding into an electoral space occupied by just 29% of voters who still, of course, support Brexit. That leaves the majority now of the bemused electorate now at the bus stop, waiting so far in vain for a Green or even a Liberal Democrat bus, which can then carry the sign declaring where it's going. So, just again, a sign of political things to come. I look forward to seeing what happens there. I very much forward to seeing what happens with the whole George Galloway scenario. That'll be quite funny. And again, I've warned you that the tankies are on the way. Watch out. And most of these people are the ones that are organizing stuff. Again, watch out. You want to try and suss them out, ask them what their take on Ukraine is. And again, I guarantee you it's, Ukraine should just surrender to that nice Mr. Putin. But here's something else. Here's my ultimate final sort of take on this. Inevitably we'll probably end up talking because something else is kind of ridiculous happen. Trust me, you can almost like start your clocks now. Something else ridiculous will happen very soon in this. As I said at the beginning, you could get two like your parties in an area vying for who gets the official nod as to say their official one. That'll be funny when that happens. But ultimately, to me, this is the exact same project. It was being led by the exact same people who ran Corbyn pretty much under Labour. Now, they failed. New project in big air quotation marks. This is being run by the same people. Why is it going to succeed this time? You see this in business a lot. Similar business idea, same people behind it. People who caused it to fail last time still involved. Oh, look, the new business went over and failed. I think it was going to be the same again, but the thing is, this time, there's no one to blame. How can you blame Labour this time? Your new party, your new thing, and when it fails, there's no one else to blame but them. And I'm sure they will try and issue blame to anyone else but them. But eventually, that is who they are left with. So feel free, by all means, to leave your comments down below. Yeah. But as always, thank you very much for watching. And of course, as always, we'll see you all next time.